Hey everyone. So we've been talking about how all systems are broken. We've talked about that. We talked about putting layers into your preparedness, into your life. And today I want to talk about learning and adding more learning to who you are and what you're about and all that stuff, right? Putting more knowledge inside of you, because the more knowledge you have, the more valuable you are out there, right? Whether it is in normal times or if the poop has hit the fan. So let me just share a couple of things that I've been thinking about, or at least some experiences that I had, right? So back when we first moved into the house that we're in, and I think this is like 14 years that we've been in there, early on the dishwasher or the garbage disposal went dead on me, right? It kind of seized up. And so I went to Home Depot, bought another one, brought it back home, opened it up, started looking over the instructions. And this was back in the day where there wasn't, I guess, as many videos like on YouTube where you could, they would walk you through how to do different things, right? So I was looking at the instructions, and there was this little like Allen wrench type thing that came with it. And this is the first time I've ever, looked at, a garbage disposal or trying to install one or anything like that. And so as I was reading about this little wrench, I realized, or read in the instructions, that there is a little place on the very bottom where you could turn it, because sometimes they do get seized up, something gets in there, and you could turn it and it might free it up. Well, I got underneath my garbage disposal with that little tool, turned it, and sure enough, it worked. It unfroze and it started working again. And that sucker worked for many, many years after that. And it was old. It's probably like, by the time it died on us, I think it was like 30 years old or something like that. But, at that point, I was able to package back up that garbage disposal, because I hadn't taken it out. I just opened it up and looked at the instructions, and that little wrench was right on top. And I was able to take it back and, buy one later on. So it did poop out eventually, and I did have to, later on down the road, and I did have to change it out. And I was able to, instead of just looking at the instructions, I was able to look at a YouTube video, which was so much more valuable to me, because I was looking at the visual aspect of it and not trying to, first of all, read little and tiny words that were so small that you can't even, that you strain to read them. But I was able to see someone actually do it, and that was so much more valuable. And the thing is that we are in unprecedented times as far as the knowledge that is available out there. I want to talk about that in just a second. So one more experience. When I was in the classroom, I was a science teacher, we taught on tides, right? And helping kids to understand tides and the moon and how all that stuff plays into account. And so we would talk about tides from the book, right? And then we would try to show videos, because we know how influential that is. At least kids could see it, because you're reading in it and it's hard to get, you can derive a mental picture from it, but seeing it is a different story. But then there's another aspect to it, and it's experiencing it. So when you would ask, and of course I'm here in the Houston area, so Galveston is pretty close by, and you ask, how many of you have actually gone down to Galveston and you've been on the beach and you've experienced this, right? And so you could, those students that were able to go down to Galveston and build a sandcastle on the beach and then stay there over time, they could see how, man, the water was so far away. They were building their sandcastle, and then, later on in, towards the afternoon, the evening, as the high tide started coming in, it just kept coming closer and closer, and it just, engulfed their sandcastle, whatever that they built. So they're able to experience it. So you have different levels of knowledge that able to read it and understand it from that aspect of it. You're able to see it, and you're able to experience it. And that's one reason why in the preparedness community, we always talk about, there's knowledge is one thing, but you also need to get out there. You need to practice. You need to have those skills. But we are in such a place right now that knowledge is so unprecedented. Like I said, You can go on the internet. Now, preppers, we love our books. We love our hard copies just in case, an EMP goes off or whatever. We at least have hard, paperbacks or hardback books that we can rely on. And guys, don't base your life on an EMP blowing up, right? Okay, so just FYI on that. But we have our Kindles or our tablets with tons of ebooks on there, and we love all of that stuff. But we also have YouTube. We have YouTube is the second largest search engine, just second to Google, and that's how much information is on there. You can search for anything you want. Then we have podcasts, which I've talked about that before, where you could be anywhere listening to a podcast and gaining that information. There are podcasts on every subject that you possibly could want. So I want to encourage you to gain knowledge, and not just gain knowledge, but gain knowledge and then apply that in skills. But gain knowledge. There's so much out there, and I know we live lives that are crazy busy. We work our butts off. We come home and you just want to veg out and you want to get in front of the television, and I don't know, do you really want to spend all your time like watching American Idol or whatever the stupid show is, the next show? What value? There's that entertainment value there, but really what value does it hold for you throughout the years, as opposed to knowledge and being able to apply that in so many different ways? So let me finish out with this. Because I had that experience with the garbage disposal, and I realized, this isn't that big scary thing, and there's some people that would listen to this video and say, I don't want anything to deal with, that technical aspect of it. I'll pay somebody. And that's, if you can afford it, that's all fine and dandy. And then there's other people who's like, yeah, man, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to just go to town and I'm going to break things. I'm going to figure it out until I figure it out and I get it working. And so you have people on all spectrums. But I felt comfortable because I had a little bit of experience already, a little bit of knowledge because I had read the manual, a little bit of knowledge because I had, used that key underneath, right? And I can tell you that when the garbage disposal really did go out that second time, I got an Allen wrench, got underneath there and started turning in, and of course it didn't unseize, so I knew that it was completely out this time. But I was comfortable being able to change it out myself. And then getting into YouTube, I found step by step, like I said, and that made me so much more comfortable being able to change that out. And so you'll find that the more information you know, the more knowledge you know, the more comfortable you are. And not only that, you're able to bring those things in and apply it into other things. So because I felt comfortable fixing that garbage disposal, then later on down the road, when it was time, when my pool, and so I have a swimming pool, and not because I can afford it, but my dad used to be in the pool business and he gifted us a pool before he retired. My panel went out, and that was like a $1,500. That would have been a $1,500 repair to cost somebody out to do that. But because I have the experience of, I did this small little thing with the garbage disposal, I felt more comfortable doing this bigger thing with the the panel that ran the whole pool and everything. And it was a long job, it was a big job, so, it was something that when I started getting into it, I was like, oh man, what did I do? But I kept persevering through it, and I had videos of people talking about it, and I was able to get through it, videos, and also there was a blog post on it or whatever, and I did it, and I saved a ton of money. I saved like $1,100 because I was able to do it myself, and I was able to figure it out. But every time you gain knowledge, you're adding, it's building. So it's not just this knowledge here and it's kept in isolation. You're building on top of the other knowledge that you have, and you just keep adding, and you're able to apply that in so many other areas. What winds up happening is it builds that critical thinking, and you're able to build, or you're able to use those critical thinking skills in other areas, right? And you're able to bring in your knowledge and your experiences from other areas into that one area. So anyway, I hope this has been a blessing to you. I'm going to encourage you to get out there and learn more. Again, podcasts I think are very beneficial. And so if you are wanting to, or maybe pique your interest a little bit about podcasts, I'm going to link to an article that I did with just some how-tos on how to get involved in podcasts and things like that, how to start looking for them. I'm telling you, there's a podcast out there for every single thing that you want, any type of topic. It's amazing. There's something out there for you. So anyway, that's it for today. God bless you, and we will see you soon.